Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, everyone? This is your host with the most, coming at you from coast to coast, East Coast, West Coast. I'm still coming with the most. Pause. But seriously, guys, welcome to another call-in show. The link to the StreamYard is actually pinned at the very top. So even if we have a bunch of people coming into the chats, obviously we're going to continue to get people in the building. So it's going to be good. It's going to be cool. And I guess I'll say a message from our sponsors. Make sure that you guys check the links in the description box below. Oh, damn, excuse me. That chicken pot pie is messing me up. But seriously, check the links in the descriptions. We have two sponsorships that we picked up last week, and we are trying to pick up even more just to get more partners, get more people in the building to support the channel. So we have Fanatics, first of all. Fanatics is obviously the place to get fan gear. Fanatics is actually where I got this shirt right here. And hold on one second, because I'm going to make a quick announcement. Just got to grab something first. Okay. All right. Speaking of the partnership with Fanatics, ladies and gentlemen, I know that a lot of you Eagles fans love to represent your team, and that's why using the fan gear, it's officially licensed with Fanatics, the best way to go, which is also why I have a black, I don't know how well you guys can see that. The camera's weird. It's like not focusing on it very well, but I have a Devontae Smith jersey right here, as you guys can see. What happened was I actually ordered the wrong size, and instead of doing everything and getting a return or getting a refund or getting a replacement, I decided, fuck it. Let's just do a giveaway. Once I hit my next 100 subs, once I hit 1,700, then we will do the giveaway. And it'll be a random person. I don't know who it's going to be. I'll just put, you can do like, there's a thing that I have that allows you to put a randomizer, but how it's going to work is we're going to have just comment, how many yards you think Devontae Smith is going to have for the season or something like that. And then all the people that leave their comment, I'm going to put your names in the drawing, and then we will pick a lucky winner once we do hit the milestone. But I do have the jersey right here. Officially licensed gear with Fanatics. Awesome stuff. Awesome partnership. And then we also got the Yeti partnership. So if you guys are looking to get a cooler, go to the beach or something, make sure that you guys check out all the links in the description box below. Now, I guess let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, I think it's a very exciting season. Like I don't remember a season that I've been this much hyped about. Like usually going into the season, I'm pretty skeptical for the most part. Not like always in a negative way, but most of the years I'm just like, this team's good. They look good. Could they be a playoff team? Sure. But man, this team's looking like as good of a team as we've had for quite some time. And starting with all the offseason acquisitions, I actually think the defense is more improved than the offense. Because if you really look at it, like how much did we – obviously we improved a lot with bringing in A.J. Brown. But other than that, we didn't really do anything to the offense. The defense is what has made major moves, major acquisitions, and everything. You bring in Hassan Reddick pretty much as your biggest signing of the offseason on the defensive side anyway. You're bringing in a guy that's a double-digit sack guy the last two seasons. Last year, the Eagles were one of the worst teams in the league in terms of sacks. So we're trying to get back to being a really good defensive team, a really good pass rushing team, and a really good team that's good at stopping the run. And I think Hassan Reddick coming in is going to help this team in a lot of ways. And Josh Sweat as well. You see what Josh Sweat has been able to do. He just continues to get better every season. And we're going to probably see some even more progression with him, I would assume. And then what's up? We got Jay Taco. What's up, my man? And we got Randall, of course. What's up, Randall the Handle? If you guys want to call in, link is at the top, of course. But as I was saying, I think the defense is so much more improved than the offense. I think that, don't get me wrong, A.J. Brown is a game changer, and he's going to do huge things to help the Eagles offense. He's going to help Jalen Hurts. He's going to help Devontae Smith. He's going to help everyone on the offense, pretty much, because he's a very good wide receiver. And he's as good a receiver as we probably could have gotten this entire offseason. I remember a lot of people being upset that we didn't sign certain guys or trade for certain guys. The whole Calvin Ridley thing happened. He got suspended for a year for gambling. Then you had, people like Robert Woods that became available. I forget where he ended up. I think he ended up getting traded to the Tennessee Titans from the Rams. And, there was guys like Allen Robinson. There was other guys on the free agent market, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk. All these guys are people wanted to sign. People just wanted to sign a receiver. And I get it, because our receiver position was not the best. I mean, obviously you have Quez, who's a decent receiver. You have Devontae, who's a really good receiver. You have Jalen Reagor, that's not, he's a first-round pick that has not panned out at all. So you really needed another receiver to pair with Devontae Smith to have a really good offense. But we did that, and as good as A.J. Brown is, I think we really only needed like one wide receiver to change our offense, and that's what we did. But our defense needed a lot of work. We needed another corner beside Darius Slay. We needed a great pass rusher. We needed to upgrade the linebacker position. We pretty much did all of that. The only position we didn't really upgrade is the safety position. And everyone's talking about Jaquiski Tart. Listen, I think he's going to be a solid player. I don't think he's going to do anything flashy. I don't think he's going to do anything great. I don't think if he comes in and just doesn't get cooked, then in my opinion, that's a plus. But as far as, he's a steal, he's this, he's that, I don't know about that. I need to see the man play games for the team. I mean, he's obviously coming to a new defense after being with the 49ers for 6-7 seasons. So you can't really put all this pressure on him and say, he's going to do this and that. No, he's not going to be Brian Dawkins. He's not going to be Malcolm Jenkins. He's not going to be that type of player. He's going to be a decent player, and hopefully he can do something. But I don't know about all of that with people saying he's going to be this, crazy. It's the best move of the season. You guys need to come on and be a little bit realistic with these signings. What do I think our record's going to be? I think that there's no reason that this team should win any less than probably 11 games. 10. If we win less than 10 games, I think there's a serious problem. I think people should, really have to have some accountability if that happens. I do not see us losing, a lot of games this season. I think we have a very favorable schedule. It's not just with the moves that we've made, the schedule, the way it plays out for us is very, very good. If we win the games that we're supposed to win, I believe that we will be A-okay. And I think we're going to be the NFC East champs. But back to what I was saying, the defense is so much improved. It's so much improved. And I think that the only thing that can stop this defense from being very, very good is if we have issues with Jonathan Gannon not using the guys the right way, which you could argue was the case last season. Don't forget that, we were doing all this stuff when we were one of the least blitzing teams in the league, which might have some correlation with being one of the worst sack teams in the league. It would only make sense that those things are correlated, but, he's got the pieces that he needs. You got better linebackers. You drop Nakobe Dean in the third round, and then you get Kaiser White on a free agent deal. You have TJ Edwards. And you have Davion Taylor, who has not really gotten a chance to do anything, but he's really fast and he can do some things if he gets a chance. So you have improved the linebackers. You have improved secondary. James Bradbury, is he going to light up the world? Is he going to be a shutdown corner? I don't know about all that. Probably not. The answer is probably no. But if he can, like I said with Jaquiski Tart, it's not about being a shutdown corner or a superstar player or anything. It's about just don't get cooked on a regular basis. If you cannot get cooked, we will be okay because we have a good pass rush. Darius Slay is a very, very good corner, and he is going to handle his business most of the time. So I like it. Everything looks good on paper, but, the games are not played on paper. You have to go out and play and prove yourself and win. So I think the most important thing is obviously our quarterback, Jalen Hurts, which I very much believe in Jalen Hurts. And if you guys have been following the channel, I've been saying for a very long time that I think Jalen Hurts is the guy. I think he's going to develop into the guy and become a guy that we can rely on going forward. Even when he was coming in for a rookie. I mean, there was just something about him. The players responded to him immediately. He has the leadership. He has all the intangibles to be a great player. But the tangibles are the things that concerns a lot of people, rightfully so. The completion percentage. You're only completing, 60 or so percent of your passes. You got to become a little bit more accurate. Do I think it's all on him for as far as last season? No, I don't. I think that as a young quarterback, you got to have players that you can trust on the team. And I do not believe that he had that outside of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert last year as far as his pass-catching targets. I think now he does have that, as I was talking about A.J. Brown earlier. A.J. Brown, good receiver. Devontae Smith, good receiver. Dallas Goedert, really good receiver. Quez Watkins, decent receiver. But with Jalen Reagor, it was a huge problem because obviously Devontae Smith and Goddard are good, but teams were beginning to double team those guys. And they were saying, okay, we're not going to allow Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith to beat us. So you're going to make Jalen Reagor be one-on-one in the island and try to beat you one-on-one. And he was not able to do that, which I think caused a lot of issues for the passing game. But as far as Jalen Hurts, yeah, he missed throws. And, there's times where he wasn't reading the defense correctly and not even seeing guys who were open, which was a major problem for the team. But I believe in Jalen Hurts. I believe that his work ethic, the stuff that he does in the offseason to try to get better is going to take him to another level. He's not like a lot of these quarterbacks that, just expect things to just come to them, a la Carson Wentz. He was not a very hard worker. He was talented. He had the arm strength and he had the build to be a very good quarterback, but he did not have the mentality like Jalen Hurts has. So I think if you put all the tools of Carson, you put them in Jalen, then you would have probably the perfect quarterback. But Carson did not have that. Jalen does. So as far as all the criticisms and all the things people have said about him, some of it is warranted. Some of it is a little bit not. Some people just don't want to give Jalen a chance, and that is what it is. So I hope that he comes in with the chip on his shoulder and tries to show the world that he can be the quarterback that the Eagles need him to be. And if he leads us to the playoffs and leads us to some wins in the playoffs, especially if the Eagles happen to go on somewhat of a deep postseason run, which is possible because if you look at the AFC is much more potent and hard to get through than the NFC. Obviously we don't have to play Joe Burrow or Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or, a bunch of these elite quarterbacks. Obviously, we still have to play Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, who are two of the greatest of all time. But, if we have the right matchups and do what we're supposed to do, you never know. We could have a chance to play against anybody. So when you're able to have good defense and have good running game, then you're going to always have a chance to do some good things. So I hope that we have everything ready to go for the season, but it's very exciting. Next up on the agenda is obviously going to be the training camp, which is supposed to start on July 26th, I do believe. Let me confirm that. I don't know. I think it's very interesting though to see how these guys are going to approach the training camp. I know they're saying that we're not going to have a lot of major hard practices to avoid injury, but hopefully we can get some reps, get some good preseason reps and stuff like that. Do I think Gronk is going to stay retired this time? Yes. I mean, there's nothing more that he needs to prove. Gronk is a very good player. He won 4 Super Bowls already with Tom Brady. He won 3 with New England and obviously 1 with the Tampa Bay Bucks. 4 first-team All-Pros. He's got the most touchdowns by a tight end in a single season. He's got the most touchdowns in a postseason for a tight end for their career. So, very good player. I mean, he obviously could have been better, but the injuries kind of not really derailed, but held him back quite a bit. Because when you're looking in, NFL history, when you're looking in, you have guys like I almost said LaDainian Tomlinson, but I meant to say, Antonio Gates, obviously. You have Tony Gonzalez. You have Shannon Sharp, who were Hall of Famers all in their own respect. But the difference is these guys played longer, and they just have him being on longevity alone. So the stats are not as much in Gronk's favor. But if he was able to stay healthy, he would be able to have a lot better numbers. And then biggest reason why I think he wasn't, really being able to stay healthy was because he didn't take care of himself. He was always getting hurt and not having the right dietary habits. And, that definitely played a factor. Obviously, if someone's blown into your knee, there's not a lot you can do about that. Or somebody, wrecks you in the head and you get a concussion, there's not a lot you can do about that. But I think some of the injuries that Gronk had could have been prevented if you have better dietary habits and stuff. So that's my opinion on all that. I think Gronk stays retired. But good question. Absolutely. But as far as training camp's concerned, I'm ready to see what's cooking with the whole tight end situation. Because you got Goddard, obviously, but we haven't really had this discussion in quite some time. I mean, if you're looking at history alone, we haven't been having people getting competing for this position, because we've had Ertz and we've had Goddard the entire time. So Goddard is the man now. And now he doesn't really have like that number 2 guy behind him. Who's going to win that position? I have no idea. I hope Jalen Hurts' accuracy and his vision is getting better. I hope it does as well. I think that it will, but we need to see it to believe it. I just think that some of the things that he's chosen to do during the offseason is going to play to his advantage. He's working with the right people. He's around the right quarterback coaches. In the offseason, he was working with Tom House, who's a known quarterback guru. He's worked with Tom Brady. He's worked with a lot of the really good quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think if we see Jalen take that next step, it's going to be because of a lot of the things that he's chose to focus on in the offseason. Sorry, guys, I got muted for a second, but I was saying I think that the tight end is probably the most intriguing just because for years we've had Ertz. We've had Ertz and Goddard, and those guys have been our guys. And before Goddard, we had Brent Selleck and we had Zach Ertz together. So this team has pretty much been having very, very good tight end duos for a very long time. So who's going to be the guy that emerges? Is it going to be Jack Stahl? Is it going to be Grant Calcaterra, the player that they drafted in the 6th round? You know, he played with Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma, and he retired briefly for concussions. And then he played a little bit last year for SMU. I think that's the school he was from. Who else? You have JJ. I mean, are we seriously going to talk about JJ? I mean, listen, JJ is moving to tight end as a last-ditch effort to have an NFL career. Do I really need to say it? Listen, this guy's not going to make the team. He's not going to make the team. He's not going to do it as a tight end. Obviously, the one good thing that JJ was doing is being a good blocker as a receiver. But he's blocking little guys. He's blocking defensive backs. As a tight end, you're not just blocking defensive backs the whole time. You got to go against linebackers. You got to go against a defensive lineman. You might have to do a little bit of a chip block from time to time. You know, you got to block some bigger, stronger guys than, you know, some of these little defensive backs that he had success against. So as far as all of that, I don't see him making the team because he's obviously not going to wow anybody as a receiver, even though he is the preseason king. So he might show y'all what he's about. What games do I think will be the toughest? Let's pull up the schedule again because I think Green Bay is obviously a tough game. Because when you're looking at the Eagles schedule, we're not playing a lot of elite quarterbacks. We're not playing a lot of great players or great quarterbacks, I mean. I obviously think that Green Bay game is going to be tough. It's going to be a great challenge for us. Both of the Dallas games are going to be tough. Those are the 2 games that we really, really need to try to win. We're trying to win this division. Indianapolis will be tough. Tennessee, it's a revenge game for A.J. Brown. So there might be a little bit of an emotional factor in that game, but as far as everything, I just don't see the Titans as being that much of a threat. In fact, I don't think I have the Titans winning their division when I was doing my season's predictions. There's this website where it allows you to pick all the games, and it goes by like all the schedules by the teams. I actually have the Colts. I think I have the Colts going 10-7. And I think I have the Titans going like 9-8 or 8-9 or something. So I think the Titans are being a little bit of an overrated team. They still have Derrick Henry, obviously. But how much can you continue to make Derrick Henry do everything for your team? I mean, he's carrying the whole team, and you no longer have A.J. Brown. You know, you have Robert Woods, who's a decent receiver, and you have a rookie receiver in Treylon Burks, who was showing up to camp, and he was out of shape. So at the end of the day, are you really going to like put all your stock into that? I don't know, and I don't really think Ryan Tannehill is the guy. So if you can find a way to try to neutralize the running game of the Titans, you should be able to win that game. Pittsburgh, even though, you know, Pittsburgh is not looking like the Pittsburgh of the past, I will say this about Pittsburgh. They have not had a losing record since Mike Tomlin has been the coach. So he's a very good coach. He knows what he's doing. And they're not gonna be some slouch, some pushover team. Obviously, they're the in-state rivals and everything like that, so it's going to be a very interesting game. But Pittsburgh definitely not going to be a pushover either. I think there's some games on here that are trap games, including Week 1 against Detroit. I actually don't think Detroit is trash or even close to it, as they've been in like the years past. I definitely don't think that. I think that we should still beat them, but don't think that the Detroit Lions are going to be a pushover. because if you think that, then it might end up being a very dangerous game. But as far as Detroit, no, absolutely not. I do not think that they're going to be, a pushover team or it's an easy win. I think that that's going to actually be a very tough game to start the season. In Minnesota, that atmosphere is going to be electrifying. I think we should be able to handle business, though. Washington playing Carson Wentz for the first time. This is going to be interesting. Then you play Doug Peterson. Doug is returning to Philadelphia in week 4. Then you go to Arizona and Dallas, and then you get Dallas at home, actually. Then it's Pittsburgh at Houston. Then you get Carson Wentz in his return to Philadelphia. Then you get at Indianapolis, tough game. Green Bay, tough game. Tennessee, I think we should win that. New York Giants, we should win that. Chicago, we should win that. Cowboys, I do not think we're gonna sweep them. I think we're gonna split. So we might win the first one and they might win the second one, or vice versa. But I see us taking the split with them. And then I see us with the Saints. Jalen Hurts, if there's one team Jalen Hurts has had success against, it has been the New Orleans Saints. He beat them his rookie season, and he beat them last year, as we all saw when he made that juke on the one Marcus Davenport, I believe. And it was a nasty juke right there. So as far as the season, I think we should finish 11-6. And I think that would be a really good season. Absolutely. Would I want to change the lineup? In terms of what? In terms of who I would have starting? Starting with, obviously, Hurts is the quarterback, but starting with offensive line, obviously I'm going to have Malata and Dickerson starting at left tackle and left guard. And Kelsey's going to be at center. And then at right guard, Seumalo's probably going to take that spot. He's switching to right guard for the season. It's going to be a battle between him and Driscoll. But Seumalo is a little bit more experienced, but you never know. Maybe Driscoll can take that spot from him. And then you got, of course, Lane Johnson at right tackle. Then for wide receivers, obviously going to have AJ. We're going to have Smitty as our top 2 receivers. Our third guy is going to be Quez, I do believe. And then Goddard's going to be our tight end. So as far as the second tight end, like I said, I don't know who's going to win that job. I don't even have the slightest clue. I don't. I straight up don't, man. If you were to tell me that you knew who's going to win the job, I would say more power to you, because I have no freaking clue. Who's going to be the second tight end. It could be Jack Stahl. It could be Calcaterra. It could be Tyree Jackson, even though he's coming off an injury. I don't know. I just don't know if he can stay healthy. He's a very good athlete. He played quarterback. He switched to tight end. I don't know, man. But he's coming off back-to-back major injuries, a back injury and a torn ACL. I don't know. But we're definitely going to need a second tight end to step up, because Goddard is going to have times where he's going to have to come out of the game, get a breather here and there. As far as the defense, I think the defense is a little more interesting, because when it comes to the linebackers, a lot of people are just saying it's going to be TJ Edwards and Kaiser White and, someone else like Davion Taylor is going to be starting. I don't know, man. I mean, I think a lot of people are not giving Nakobe Dean the respect, and I don't know why. Nakobe Dean is actually one of the smartest players that we have on the team. He was the captain of the defense of the Georgia Bulldogs, who won the national championship. So when you're a guy like that that's calling the defense for one of the best defenses in the country, you got to give him a little bit of respect. And I think that once he learns the system and he learns the ins and outs, he's going to be able to do the same thing for the Eagles defense, the Jonathan Gannon defense. And he brings a lot of things to the table. He's got speed. He's got athletic ability. He can chase down guys. He can tackle. He can do everything that we haven't been able to do at the linebacker position. And Kaiser White, don't forget, he had over 140 tackles for the Chargers last season. So, yeah, I think those guys with TJ Edwards, it's going to be a triple threat. Secondary, I got my man Big Play Slay, and we got James Bradbury on the other side. Then we got Maddox in the slot. Maddox is underappreciated. Maddox, is he a good? I mean, he's 5'9". So no, he's probably not going to be a good as an outside corner. But going against these quicker guys in the slot, he does a very, very good job with that. So Maddox is a very good slot corner. And then at safeties, it depends on how this safety position battle ends up. You know, obviously Jaquiski Tart just got brought in. You got TJ. You obviously have Kevon Wallace. You have Anthony Harris. You lost Rodney McLeod, so it's still a question mark. It's still a question mark, and I don't know who's going to win. I mean, a lot of people were saying Marcus Epps, but nah. And I think the signing of Jaquiski Tart tells us that he ain't going to be starting. Marcus Epps, he does not have the experience. Jaquiski Tart and Anthony Harris has the most experience, so I would assume those guys are going to be the two starting safeties. And then all these other young guys like, you know, Marcus Epps and Kevin Wallace, they're going to be there for depth in special teams as far as all that. Speaking of special teams is intriguing. Special teams, you have guys like God, I lost my train of thought for a second. We got Nina Alston in the house. What's up, Nina? Thanks for tuning in. Oh, that poster right there of Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson and Devontae Smith. Someone made a jersey swap of that. Let me see if I can pull it up. Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson. But anyway, there's a website that I used that allows you to you can get a poster printed and sent to your house. It can be a custom. It could be any picture. Like you could literally take any picture that you have and get a poster made out of it, which is really cool. So when I saw that, I was like, man, that's really cool. So I think I'm going to get that and get it posted on my wall. Maybe one day I can get Devontae and Landon to sign it. That would be pretty cool to have like a poster signed by both of those guys. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. And Dickerson. Yep, it's this thing right here. Let me share that on the screen. Chrome. It's this thing right here. So this is the original one. It happened actually when they were at Alabama. But it is still pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Yep, absolutely very cool. Sorry, guys, I had to go run and do something real quick, but we're back. So I want to say, been thinking of like, what's the biggest what ifs of Eagles history? Is there, because there's a lot of what ifs. Everyone talks about Alshon Jeffrey. What if Alshon caught that pass? That's a good one because maybe the Eagles could have won back-to-back Super Bowls. That would have been really interesting. And then the other ones include, what if the Eagles could have got a stop against the, we got a lot better lighting now. So what if the Eagles could have stopped the Arizona Cardinals? Because they took the lead late in the game and they didn't hold it for very long, to say the least. So that was a heartbreaking loss. What if the Eagles could have worked it out with T.O. and a McNabb and kept T.O. on the team for a little bit longer? They made it to the Super Bowl when T.O. was there, but it just didn't last. The relationship just didn't last very long, so it was tough. I don't know, man. There's a lot of what ifs that we could talk about, but in my opinion, in my personal opinion, Andy Reid he's underappreciated as a coach. You know, and speaking of McNabb, I think if McNabb didn't have Andy Reid as a coach, I do not think he would have had the same career. And in terms of him as a quarterback, guru, Andy Reid, that is, I want to say if we had Randall Cunningham and we had Andy Reid at the same time, it would have been absolutely unfair, especially if we had T.O. with Randall and Andy Reid. There's a reason why Randall was called the ultimate weapon, because this guy was an athletic freak. He had a cannon of an arm. He was an amazing talent to watch, but the team did not really support him, especially not in terms of coaching. You know, we had Buddy Ryan, who was one of the greatest defensive masterminds in NFL history. In fact, he was the mastermind behind the Chicago Bears of 1985, which is revered in legendary status when it comes to the greatest defenses of NFL history. You have the 85 Bears, you have the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, you have the 2013 Seahawks. You have a lot of great defenses, and the Chicago Bears was definitely up there. And the Eagles could have been up there. The only thing is the Eagles just didn't have a Super Bowl to back it up. The Eagles in those 90s teams, if they could have won a ring, I think they would be revered in legendary status as well. That's another story. The point is, we did not support Randall Cunningham with a good offensive coordinator or a good quarterback coach, even. And I think with Andy Reid's track record, if you look at what he's done with Michael Vick, was successful with Michael Vick. Michael Vick was literally coming out of prison at the time. He came in and they were using him as a wildcat in 2009. But in 2010 was when he really got his opportunity when Kevin Kolb got hurt. Michael Vick was never a very good passer. But nonetheless, Vick came in 2010, had a really good season. The Eagles won the NFC East. And he had his best season ever in terms of being a passer. Before with Atlanta, he was more of playing backyard football. He was, running around doing the crazy stuff. And he wasn't really, being a quarterback. He was just doing everything but being, a passer. And then he came to Philly, had his career season. He had success with Jeff Garcia. He had success with Alex Smith in Kansas City. Nick Foles, he literally called him out of retirement when Nick was depressed because, let's face it, Jeff Fisher made Nick Foles depressed. So he called him out of retirement. Foles plays a couple games for the Chiefs when Alex Smith gets hurt and kind of gets his confidence back. And then he comes to Philly and wins a Super Bowl. And don't forget, Andy Reid is the one that drafted Nick Foles. Chip Kelly, people say, how he had the 27-2 in Chip Kelly's offense. But don't forget, Andy Reid's the one that drafted this guy. Okay? I think that Andy Reid is so great and so underappreciated just because he didn't win a Super Bowl. And I don't think it was, I think partially it was his fault. I mean, you got to look at the game management to some degree or lack thereof, actually. So it's kind of tough. But if Andy Reid had Cunningham with his talent and Andy Reid's, mind and his, his play calling and his offensive, genius, I think they would have been absolutely unfair together. So that's probably my biggest what if when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles history. I'm a bit of an Eagles historian myself. That's why I'm actually going to be doing some different videos when it comes to throwbacks. I did the video on Nick Foles, the Nick Foles trade. When I last checked a poll that I put up on my community board, I actually saw that you guys would be interested in seeing a video of Deshaun Jackson. And I'm gonna probably do a video about that as well. But Deshaun Jackson was 27 years old. Deshaun Jackson was still in his prime when we were getting rid of him, when we first released him, which is absolutely insane. You don't let go of a receiver who's coming off his career season. He had a career high 82 catches for 1,300 and something yards and 9 receiving touchdowns, which the 9 touchdowns also tied his career high. His previous career high was also 9 touchdowns in a single season. So everything checked out. But, they were trying to disrespect. Him and say, he was doing all this stuff and, causing trouble and being in the gangs. They were praying for his downfall. And the opposite thing happened. You saw that he came to Washington and he's the reason why we got eliminated from the playoffs in 2015. He absolutely killed us and torched us every time we played against him. And then he went to Tampa Bay, played with Jameis Winston. The year after we won the Super Bowl, 2018. Don't forget that game when Fitzpatrick was throwing the ball everywhere and he torched us. He threw for like 5 something. Not 5, but he definitely threw for over 400 yards on us. And Deshaun Jackson was definitely a huge reason why we were getting cooked. So it was stupid. There was no reason to do it. And the biggest thing that pains me as an Eagles fan, even though we won the Super Bowl in 2018, you got to say, this is a bunch of crap. Because you had Shady McCoy, who was our all-time leading rusher, and you had Deshaun Jackson, who was one of the best explosive players that we've ever seen in the NFL. And you got rid of him for no reason, and they should have won a ring with the Philadelphia Eagles. And they should have retired as a Philadelphia Eagle instead of, Shady went to Buffalo, he went to Kansas City. I'm glad at least Shady got him a couple of rings. Deshaun has not done that yet. I don't believe that the Rams gave him a ring because he didn't stay with the team the whole time for the whole season. Hopefully, he finds a way to get one. I don't know where, but if he gets signed to a team that's a contender, maybe he'll have a good chance. But I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I can do the Jalen Hurts story. Yeah, that would be an amazing, especially if he has a successful season this year. That would be the icing on the cake for that. Because when you're talking about Jalen Hurts, you're talking about a guy that has been through a lot of stuff. And a lot of people are disrespectful when it comes to Jalen Hurts. A lot of people are saying, Jalen Hurts was not a good quarterback in college. He got ran out of Alabama. It's actually not true. If you guys look at what actually happened, Jalen was at Alabama, and he was a very good starting quarterback, and then he had a piss-poor performance in the national championship and got benched. Everyone knows about that. But the thing where people get it wrong with Jalen is they say, this guy went to Oklahoma. He ran from the grind. No, he didn't. He actually saved Alabama the next season because Tua is very injury prone. He got hurt, ankle injury, against the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship. And when Jalen Hurts comes into the game, they're trailing by double digits. He comes into the game and he leads them to a win. and then Alabama gets back into the playoffs. They didn't win the national championship. They made it back to the national championship game. But if they lose that game, who's to say that they would have even been in the college playoffs? We don't know that. And because of Jalen Hurts, they made it back to the college playoffs. And then after that season, that's when he transferred to Oklahoma as a grad transfer. He had already graduated and got his degree from Alabama at the time. So if you're going to sit back and say Jalen Hurts was running and he didn't want to compete or do anything, then you don't know what you're talking about. Because he actually did come back and he did compete with Tua for the starting job. Tua won the starting job. And when it came to the end of the season, Tua got hurt. And as I said, Jalen Hurts came in and he saved the team from, possibly missing the college playoffs. And then he gets drafted in the second round. Obviously, a lot of Eagles fans were not happy about it. I didn't really think that it was the right decision at the time. But if Jalen comes in and shows us something, then, obviously I'm wrong. Obviously, I've already come around to Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. In fact, after I first saw how bad Carson Wentz was playing, I thought that we should have let Jalen Hurts play a lot sooner in his rookie season. But instead, we're trying to use Jalen Hurts like he was Taysom Hill. It was the most ridiculous, stupid thing that I can actually remember. And I don't think it made any sense to do it. So using him as a gadget player, I do think messed up his development a little bit. I think that as bad as Carson was playing, they should have gave him more playing time. He should have been playing week 9, week 10, instead of playing, when did he first start his first game? Was it like 4 games left in the season? Was it like week 15 or something? Or week 14? The guy was not really given a real chance to go out and do stuff. And then even with as bad as that team was, I think he made the most out of it. And I think he had some ups and downs, but he made the most out of it. Just like last season, had ups and downs, but it wasn't a terrible season, especially not for a guy that's starting his first full season as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So as far as Jalen Hurts, if he takes the next step, that's the only thing we're trying to see right now. We're just trying to see him progress and be better. 100% facts. I say that this year, the offensive coordinator should just let Jalen Hurts do his thing and not handcuff. Yeah, I feel like if we want to have the most success, then we need to ask Jalen, what's the plays that he likes the most and he's most comfortable doing? And we should stick with that, because when you're looking at the really good quarterbacks in the league that do really, really well, they have that trust from the coaching staff and the offense too. Obviously, I think we should try to support Jalen as much as we can, but I don't think we should put the handcuffs on him at all. I think that for him to grow into his own, we need to know what parts of the offense he's very, very comfortable with, what parts of the offense he's still trying to get a grasp of. And I think we should focus on what he needs to get a grasp of, just so we can unleash the full playbook at some point. But, you got to give the guy a chance to grow and do his thing. And if you're not if you're not setting him up for success, then I don't know what you're doing. He's a young quarterback. He's trying to prove himself. This is supposedly going to be an audition for him. So what's the point of holding him back? It doesn't make any sense. I say this as well. Jalen Hurts will trust the play calling, but if you told him to cook, the man's potential is crazy good. I think his potential is crazy good. I think that no one has really given him enough respect. Everyone not everyone, but outside of Eagles fan base, nobody believes he can get the job done. And I don't know why. I don't know why. It's not like he's been terrible. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that's been worse than him. But you don't see people saying, writing these other guys off. Why? Because they're young and they're still trying to get better. And they should. So if Jalen does not have a good season for this season, then you have a better argument. But one season as a starting quarterback, He's only started 21 games for his career, I believe. 20-something games. 30-something, then yeah, you have a better argument. But I think that this season we got to unleash the full Jalen Hurts, do everything that we need to do to support him. I think that one thing we shouldn't do is force Jalen to do everything, because I don't think he's that kind of guy. If you run the ball and have a successful running game, I think that it'll open up the offense. You have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have good receivers on the team, you have Dallas Goedert, you got weapons. So at the end of the day, it's up for Jalen to just distribute the ball and let the game come down. And if he does that, I think he's going to put up good numbers and we're going to have a successful season. It's pretty much simple as that. It's simple. If he's a first-round pick, he won't get that type of disrespect. Yeah, because he's in the... Yeah, I mean, if you look at his season in college, he was the second runner-up to the Heisman, to Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, honestly, was one of the greatest college quarterbacks. That was one of the best seasons we've seen by a quarterback of college, Joe Burrow in 2019. You know, it's up there with Vince Young. It's up there, you know, with a lot of the great quarterbacks. Tim Tebow, Marcus Mariota. A lot of these quarterbacks were not good in the NFL. But Joe Burrow obviously has proven himself. And I think that Jalen will continue to prove himself as well. So I'm tired of the Jalen Hurts disrespect. I know, like, obviously there's always going to be bantering between divisional rivals. So anyone that's a Cowboys fan or something like that, then I don't really care. You know, obviously they're going to continue to banter no matter what. But, you know, a lot of these Eagles fans that are just saying whatever excuses they want to have to not give Jalen Hurts any support, I don't really know why they won't do that. Because it's very hypocritical. Because no matter if Carson Wentz was not being consistent, no one was doing that for him. And people were giving him excuses, and even I was giving Carson Wentz excuses as well. But I'm giving Jalen Hurts a fair chance because that's just how I feel about it. I feel like he deserves it. I don't feel like everyone is giving him a fair chance. And I think when it comes to it, some of the takes and the videos and things people have made about Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, but if you don't delete him right away, like when the season starts and he starts playing well, I don't know, man. I mean, you might end up getting exposed at the end of the season. There might be a highlight tape, and you might see your video on the highlight tape of, you know, in the beginning, the intro. It's going to be like all the people hating on Jalen Hurts, especially people in the media, which are also hating on Jalen Hurts, not just people in the fan base. You have people like Shannon Sharp that's like, oh, well, Carson Wentz is better than Jalen Hurts. Well, why is Carson Wentz on his third team in the last 3 seasons? Why did Carson Wentz get run out of Philly because of Jalen Hurts? Why was Carson Wentz intimidated by Jalen Hurts? It was reported that when they were working together in the quarterback room and they were always asking Jalen Hurts questions, Jalen Hurts was always answering the questions, and he had like a commanding presence, like a alpha male type of presence to Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz felt insecure. So as far as all of that, I don't know how you're going to say that Carson Wentz is better based off of the facts that we know. And we know in the big games, Carson Wentz crumbled under the pressure for the Indianapolis Colts, and he takes no accountability. He's not a good leader. That's why Jim Irsay wasn't even going to have a meeting with Carson Wentz in the first place. So if you're going to say that he's better, Shannon Sharp, I don't know, man. But he is a little bit biased because he's the one that made up the walk it to him Wentz. When the pressure is on Hurts, that's when he shined the most. Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were playing against the Panthers, and it was a terrible game for us. But when it was time to go be clutch, he was He was very, very clutch. I say Cam Newton because he carried that team by himself. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, man. Jalen Hurts, I'm excited for him. I hope that he does well. Hope that he proves everyone wrong because this is a guy that's very easy to root for. And I think as far as when you're looking at Philly's not the place for everyone to play. Obviously, we know that with Carson Wentz. Obviously, we know that with Ben Simmons. Obviously, we know that with quite a few players in history. We know that with quite a few players. But if there's one player that I do believe has what it takes to play in Philly, it is Jalen Hurts. Because the criticism and the shit and everyone that's people's always saying is not really getting to him as it did like a lot of players. So for him, I think that he's going to go in and do his thing and all the noise is not going to affect him that much. But anyway, we got our first caller of the night. We have Mitch. What's going on, Mitch?
Yo, how's it going, bro? How's it going?
What's going on, man? We're just having a little stream here, and we're just talking about Jalen Hurts and everything.
I'm glad you are, because my video tomorrow is about let's be realistic about Jalen Hurts. Because I don't know if you hear about these takes, like people say he's going to be better than Josh Allen.
Better than who?
Josh Allen.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think that
that's what
do I think Jalen Hurts can still
tomorrow.
be? Do I still think he can be good? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think he's going to come in and be an elite quarterback? No. I think that with the players that we have, he should be able to do his thing. He has a lot of weapons and a good offensive line. So coming in, I just expect him to be better. But as far as Josh Allen and everything, I don't know about that.
Yeah. And you know how he worked with Tom House and Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
It's before a game. You know, in the game, things rush. Things are you're under the most pressure. Who knows if he's going to make a mistake and throw a pick, right? It's going to bound to happen. So
I don't think it'll be perfect, but
yeah. And these people have us going 16-1. Jalen Hurts going to be MVP, and my MVP. I'm stuck between.
Oh, you mean EC1 has us doing that with his delusion?
No, I'm not talking about EC1. I'm not talking about him.
Saying even more people then. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. EC1 is not the only one. God no.
I think realistic expectation. I think that we're gonna go 11-6. I think Jalen is gonna have a better season. I think he'll throw over 20+ touchdown passes. I think he'll still be effective as a runner. Mm-hmm. So in the end, I see us doing well and making the playoffs. But as far as all of that, no, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting tired of these guys. Someone had Jalen Hurts going to be in the top 10 quarterback after this season.
It depends. It depends on how he plays, but I'm not going to go out and say, oh, he's going to be a top 10 or top 5 or anything right now. I'm going to wait for the season to come, and then hopefully he does well. Do I think he's going to be better? Absolutely. There's no doubt I think he's going to be better than last year. Oh, my God, if we had to trade for Watson, we wouldn't had none of this shit while Hurts might be playing in Pittsburgh or some shit. You know what, man? I'm glad we didn't get Deshaun Watson because, you know, obviously he did clear like 20 of his civil lawsuits. But at the same time, like, it's a media circus at Cleveland. Like, do you really want to have that, dealing with that every day in the team? I don't think so. I think it would be really distracting, and it's not something that I would want to do as far as Deshaun Watson.
Yo, what up, man? What up?
What up, Mechie?
And he's out of there. Alrighty then. But
he must have sound issues, but that's my opinion with the Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. If we got him and none of this was happening, I'll be all for it. If none of this was happening,
if none of it was happening, but it happened. So that's why I think it was a smart move, though. Because, I mean, you have a contingency plan already if Jalen Hurts is not the guy that you want him to be. Because next season you also have 2 first-round picks that you can trade for a disgruntled quarterback. If it's Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or someone else, I don't know. Or if there's a quarterback in the draft that you want to go get, you have the ammunition to trade up and go get. So
Yeah.
in the end, either way you look at it, if Jalen Hurts pans out, I think that's the best situation for the team because then you won't have to use your picks on another quarterback. But if it doesn't, then you're already set up to go find whatever quarterback you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
So Howard Roseman A+ for that.
I agree with that. And some of these quarterback lists actually have Jalen Hurts at 12. I think that's too high. And for me, I had him at 15. Now thinking about it, I think that's a little bit too high.
I think I had him at about 16th.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, I had him at the right spot. Yeah, 15 for me. It's
but if
just
he
like,
gets,
dude,
if he gets better, who knows? Maybe he can climb in the top 12 or 10 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
if he goes up a little bit, I'm fine. I don't expect a huge gap. I don't expect like a 15-5.
well, I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but I think he's going to be a good, solid quarterback, which is all we need him to do. We don't need him to be Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or anything. We need him to be Jalen Hurts. We need him to be the best version of Jalen Hurts. And if he can do that, I think we're going to still win the division and be a very good team that can at the very least, win a home playoff game as a division winner.
Mm-hmm. And it actually helps with Shane Steichen as well.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen calling the plays, that's going to help.
Yeah, because he took over the play calling last season, and it was very, very helpful because at the end of the day, we were struggling with Nick Sirianni calling the plays. We were throwing the ball like 40 times a game, and that's just not what we needed to do. As far as with running the ball and everything, we became the top rushing offense because we started running the ball when Shane Steichen took it over. So I expect us to still be one of the top running teams in the league.
Yeah, so do I. People think we're just going to change Jalen Hurts to like a throwing team now. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Not right now.
No, I think we're going to probably – I mean, we didn't bring A.J. Brown in for no reason. I mean, we're obviously still going to throw the ball maybe a little more than we did last year. But as far as throwing the ball like 40 times a game, that's not our identity. That's not who we are. That's not what we're going to do.
Yeah. And I was actually on this podcast, I think it was like a month ago. And I brought up the fact, remember that AFC Championship game last year? Bills and Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen did 7 touchdowns.
Crazy game.
Yeah. And I was like, can Jalen Hurts do that? And one of them was like, not that last year, but this year I think he can. I'm like, no. I don't think he can go tit for tat, 7 for 7. I don't think so. I don't see that.
Well, I mean, Jalen did have games where he did that, but it was let down by the defense. I mean, against the Kansas City Chiefs, we put up, we put up 40 points. We put up 40 points. But, as far as all of that, I don't think that's how we're going to win games, is being in a shootout. I think that running the ball, we need to try to keep these quarterbacks, the elite ones that we play against, off the field. We got to play controlling the clock, and, we got to score in the red zone. That's the most important thing of this team.
Yeah, and I think that's why we got Zach Pascal for the red zone.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a red zone threat.
I'm not too sure. Like, I think that he could be. But as far as, like, with the red zone, I don't know. Like, I don't know who our main red zone guy is going to be. I would say Goddard, because he's just, like, the biggest guy on the team.
Yeah.
AJ would be another one. And I also think that with Jalen Hurts, I think he's going to have less rushing yards. But I think he's going to have more rushing touchdowns. I think that down in the red zone, it's going to be the place where people see all these weapons and they're going to say, I don't know, should we like double team Goddard? Should we do this or that? And then Jalen Hurts is going to take off and run. Because I don't think a lot of teams are going to continue to put a spy on him in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, God. EC1's in the chat of Boys for Life stream now. Jeez. Not again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. I actually got a phone call. I'll talk to you later. I got to take this.
Thanks for coming in, though, all right?
Yeah, man. Keep doing your thing. I actually just watched your video this morning about the Giants fans reacting to the Daniel Jones pick.
Oh, that's a classic one, man. I did that a long time ago.
Yeah, that was classic. I was like, damn, I wish I was doing YouTube then.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, man, I gotta go. I'll
All
talk
right,
to you.
man, we'll see you.
Yeah, peace.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to shut it down for now. It was a good stream. We got to talk to Mitch for a little bit, but we will be back. Going to have some videos coming out this week. Going to have the LinkedIn podcast with Lindy. Obviously, you know, guys, we've been doing that for a minute. So we will be live Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, we will also have the Gauntlet podcast on Saturday night at 7 Eastern. And that, I'm excited for the Gauntlet, man, because we're going to be talking about Cancun edition of the Gauntlet. And that's basically where we're going to look in the past of the most devastating, brutal playoff defeats ever. So when you guys come, make sure you bring your most devastating Eagles defeat. This is your host of the most, and I'm going to see you guys later.